big way yesterday. How poorly has the stock market done since Trump took office?
Yeah, sometimes we look at the day-to-day, and I feel like we can get lost. So let's take a look over the whole stretch of the Trump presidency as we approach day 100. The S&P has dropped the most under Trump for any president at this point in their presidency since the S&P 500 was, in fact, created back in 1957. And indeed, it is not anywhere close, folks. It's not anywhere close. Under Trump, it's dropped, get this, 14%. The next closest one was George W. Bush back in 2001, a drop of just half that at 7%. No other elected president at this point in their presidency saw a drop of 5% or more. So Donald Trump is on a planet all by himself, a planet you do not want to be on, the American people don't want to be on, in terms of the drop in the S&P 500 approaching 15% already in his presidency. No bueno.
So all of this and the ripple effects from the trade war have a lot of people talking, of course, about a recession coming, some even saying that we're already in a recession. Where are the numbers on that?
Yeah, okay. So, of course, this is the whole question, right? Is what happens on the New York Stock Exchange, what happens in the NASDAQ, what happens in the S&P 500, stay there, or does it then cascade across the economy? And at this particular point, there's a decent chance that it will cascade across the economy. Chance of a recession. You see, I have 4 different little metrics we can look at. JP Morgan, 60%. Polymarket, 57%. Reuters, 45%. Goldman Sachs, 45%. That's a bunch of numbers on your screen, but they're all basically telling the same exact story. That is, on either side of 50%, there's basically a 50-50 chance of a recession at this point. And that is way up from where we were at the beginning of the Trump presidency, when the numbers simply put weren't anywhere near this. The stock market is a reflection of the economic state we're in. The chance of a recession is another reflection of the state of the economy that we are in. The bottom line is that Trump's tariff wars have taken what was a pretty gosh darn good economy and turned into a very uncertain economy, one in which the stock market has fallen and one in which the chance of a recession has gone up considerably, Kate Baldwin.
If there is a recession, how much blame is Donald Trump likely to face?
Okay, so this is the whole thing. Am I going to blame the last guy and I'm trying to fix the economy? Or is it we're going to blame this guy, Donald Trump, and the buck actually stops there? This is what the American folks say. If Donald Trump believes that he can somehow escape blame if there is, in fact, a recession, I'm here for a reality check. He will simply put not be able to do so. Blame Trump if there's a recession in the next 12 months. Look at this. A lot or quite a bit. That's the majority winner right there at 52%. A little or not at all, perhaps a little bit high, some might say, at 32%. But still here, the clear majority of Americans say that if, in fact, there is a recession in the next 12 months, which at this point looks about 50-50, the majority of the American public says that the buck will stop at the White House, stop at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, and Donald Trump will not, in fact, be able to escape blame if there is, in fact, a recession.
Harry Enten, thank you very much.
Thank you.
John Berman.
All right, with us now is